Hello everyone, welcome to the video. I hope you are doing well. So I'm actually not sure if I'm going to upload this on my normal channel or make a new channel. I don't know. So if this is my new channel, hello, welcome. My name is Nicole, and if this is my regular channel, hi, I'm Nicole if you haven't seen me before. So I want to share with you guys my garden. I have been going on a little bit of a garden journey, more specific, a cut flower garden. And this year we're kind of expanding things a lot. And I actually filmed this video a couple of weeks ago, but then when I went to edit it, I realized there was no audio. So hopefully this one has audio, it should. But I want to give you guys a little intro of me and kind of my garden. If you don't know, I live near Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and I am a zone 5B. And we're coming up on the last frost. We have quite a big kind of not variation, I don't know what I would say, distance, I don't know if that's the right word, of when our last frost can be. And it looks like it's finally warming up. I mean, winter has been holding on with like an iron fist this year. We literally had snow a couple days ago. But looking at the forecast, it's looking like it's all staying above zero, which is exciting because that means we can start the garden. However, this year I decided to, well, not me, but me and my boyfriend decided to book a trip at the time that we have our last frost, which is probably not the most ideal time to be booking a vacation and to be gone for such a long period of time. But we're trying to make things work, which I will explain because a lot of my plants are actually grown really well, and I grew them way in advance this year so that they were very hard. No, that's not the right word. That they were very more, I can't think of my words this morning, my gosh, but that they were more not fragile. Well, I can't speak. That they weren't fragile, that they would die, because last year we had a similar vacation and a lot of my seedlings ended up dying from like the person who was taking care of it was fine. They were trying to take care of them, but they ended up dying just because they needed a lot of care. And I obviously wasn't here to give them a lot of care, and somebody wasn't here like 24/7 giving them a lot of care. So a lot of them ended up dying. So I thought this year I would start early. So I am a bit early for our gardening zone for what people usually say. And I think it's good that I've actually started them quite early this year so that when I leave, the person who's coming to watch our cats and take care of these guys behind me, they'll be a little bit more resistant, I guess is the best way to say it. I just want to say that, like, when it comes to gardening, I know a lot of people, like, I love to watch gardening videos, TikTok videos. Everyone has such great information, and it's interesting because we all live in different zones, and even people within the same zone will do different things. And that's what's interesting about gardening, is that you can do everything the same and it might not come out the same. And you really need to figure out what works for you and your garden, which is kind of cool because it's, at the end of the day, it's trial and error. And when you kind of find your tricks, or you see a trick online and you try it and it works, like, that's awesome. So some people might have some tricks. I might have some tricks that I can share with you guys, which I hope to do with this channel. But yeah, don't be afraid to ever like look around, look at different YouTube videos, look at tons of TikToks. Everyone has such good information on TikToks, and I learned so much this year on TikTok, and for the past couple of years, of course. So I want to give you guys a tour of what I have going on inside. It's a little bit chaotic right now because I've been kind of transplanting up and changing them out of their seed cells and like trying to get them as much light and changing them around. So it is, like I said, very chaotic, but I'm trying my best. So right here, I have one little kind of growing station, and I have another one over here. So I had two. I actually crammed them all together. I had 3 going for a while, and now that it's getting warmer out, I'm putting out some more plants that are more frost resistant. So I've been kind of trying to organize it, and I've also been trying to organize them so that they're pretty tight together, so that when we go on vacation, they're gonna be watered well and they'll be together well, so that it's not like too chaotic for the person who's watching our plants, if that all makes sense. That they're kind of all crammed together. I also don't have tons of lights, and one of my lights actually just burnt out today. But for me personally, I don't want to be doing a ton of investment in like this. Like, I don't want to be spending tons of money, because you can spend a lot of money on like the top gardening equipment, and I really tried to save money where we could, or find the more affordable option. That might not be the best option considering one of my lights has already burnt out, which whatever, I can replace it. But yeah, let's get into the garden shelves and then I'll give you guys a little tour outside. So we do have a lot of cut flowers. I want to do cut flowers. I want to do a farm stand this year. That is really the goal of everything, and the main thing is to be cut flowers. And I did some flower bouquets last year, so this year it's kind of ramping it up, and I am trying a lot more new flowers this year, so we'll see how it goes. So right here we have 2 sweet potatoes, and I know a lot of people would not recommend growing sweet potatoes in our area, which it's not ideal. This is more of like a fun project, the sweet potatoes. We actually last year tested it out. We were like, oh, let's just try it, where we grew them inside like right now, and we planted them kind of late last year, but we actually ended up getting quite a bit, and they're very interesting how they grow, but they're also kind of fun to play around with. So if you want to play around with something, don't be afraid to try sweet potato. Buy organic sweet potatoes. I pretty much put them in water in January, end of January, beginning of February. Ideally, I think more beginning of January is probably ideal to have a bit more of a longer season, because they do take a long time to grow. But they're very interesting because they obviously grow into the ground, but then they vine out. It's really interesting. So we have 2 of those guys going. And then I have some, I've already transplanted some out, but we have some aster, and we also have some larkspur. We have zinnias here, which I think are growing a little too fast for me. Then in the windowsill here and the windowsill over here, we have dahlias growing, we have tomato plants growing, and then 2 more cherry tomato plants and dahlias, which are just exploding. I was not expecting this whatsoever. But this is what's interesting, which I think I might give up on this guy because he has not budged. I grew these guys at the exact same time. Exact same amount of light, same feeding, everything like that. And you can do all the same for everything, and it does not mean that it'll always 100% be perfect and work. So as you can see, this guy, he's been like this for probably like 4 or 5 weeks. Like they grew and then this guy just stopped. And look at these guys, they're just expanding. So I think I'm gonna have to give up on this little guy. I don't think he's gonna grow anymore at all, unfortunately. But like these guys are exploding. And like I said, that's what's interesting about gardening. You can do the same thing and it doesn't mean that it's always going to 100% work. It really depends on the seed, depends on things. So don't ever feel bad if you don't grow something or something doesn't grow properly, because like I did the same for both tomato plants. One didn't grow and a lot grew. So I have a lot of dahlias. These are my favorite. So I have some here, they're all mixed in here. But what's interesting is that I learned this year is that you take you kind of pull the tops off, you put them in some root hormone here. This is the one that I have. And you kind of put it in a little pot like this, and they're supposed to root and grow dahlias from here. So I did that with actually a couple dahlias because they started exploding. So we'll see how that turns out. Also, I'm growing some dahlias from seed as well, which dahlias are very interesting. So if you don't know, it's a flower and they usually grow from tubers. And in our zone, you have to take them out in the winter or else they will die, which I did not label my dahlias last year. So I have no idea which one is which and which one's growing. We'll see. But they usually grow from tubers, and when you buy them from tubers, you know exactly what dahlia you're gonna get. However, with dahlia seeds, there's so much cross germination, I don't know if that's the right thing, of different dahlias, that when you grow it from seed, you're not guaranteed what kind of dahlia you're gonna get. A lot of people are actually really good at kind of crossing things with seeds to make their own dahlia, which maybe I'll look into for future, but I think that's really cool and very interesting. We also have Lunera here, which is a really beautiful plant when it's dried. I'm very excited for these. And then we have, they're mixed everywhere, but we have some broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts. So they're mixed here, they're mixed down here, and they're also mixed over here. We have so many snapdragons. Snapdragons were one of the first ones that I did, and I was doing it with my son, and I didn't realize how much he had put in the seed trays, and we grew a lot. I wanted to save as many as I could because I really hate killing them off. So I tried to save as many as I could, and actually we have so many. So we'll see how that goes. I also have cosmos, I have mums, I have a mix of things here. And then we have straw flower in here, which is a beautiful flower. Also very beautiful for dried flowers. Feverfew, we got these snapdragons, Brussels sprouts, just a mix of everything in here. And like I said, snapdragons, mums, cosmos, feverfew. We also have eucalyptus here, which I'm excited about. I don't know. I've always had a hard time growing eucalyptus. This is the best that they've looked since I've ever tried growing them. I find I have just a hard time with them. Some people it grows easy, some people not so much. Me, not so much. So we'll see. I might transfer them to a little bit bigger because I feel like they need a little bit more space to grow. I also started, which I wasn't intentionally doing, but I actually forgot to pre-plant them, which was cucumber, melon, some lettuce, some things that I actually wanted to sprout more in advance, but I didn't. So we'll see how those last, but if not, I'll just direct sow them. And I just got tons of flowers really. I got zucchini, I got onion. This is the best my onion has ever looked. Honestly, I think it helped that I grew it way in advance this year because it made a huge difference. So maybe I'll start growing those ones in advance just because I've always struggled with onion. I have tons of like beefsteak tomatoes in here and just tons of different flowers, broccoli, all that kind of thing. And then we have some up here that don't need as much light, which is another dahlia, strawflower, celosia, tons of stuff. So that's pretty much what we have going plant wise. And I just want to say, so this rack and this rack, those two racks I ended up getting this year because before what I had was very small and not holding what I needed. I wouldn't say that these are like the best racks, but they do the job. So if you're in Quebec, Canada, you might know the store Canac. They actually have really affordable stuff. And this is where I got them from. I got them for 20 bucks, 19 bucks or something like that. I wouldn't say like I said, they're not the best quality, but they actually do the job pretty well. And I'm happy with it. It does the job. It works, it holds my plants, and that's all I care about. Like I said, didn't want to spend a ton of money, but they have really good shells. And also it comes with like a plastic humidity dome if you want to put like a whole dome on top. I didn't put them on top because I didn't start all the germination at the same time. And if you want to kind of work on hardening off your seedlings outside, this would actually be ideal with the humidity dome to kind of keep it a little bit warmer inside for those sensitive seedlings, which maybe I should have done for snapdragons because I find that they have a little bit of a hard time hardening off. But other than that, I mean, it's a little too late to do that now because I actually started hardening off some snapdragons. I'm going to be doing that very slowly before we leave because snapdragons can actually handle a little bit of cold weather. I'm kind of taking my time hardening them off and not hardening them off all at once in case they all die. I don't want that to happen. So we're slowly hardening off some already outside, and I'm leaving some inside for now so that I don't lose all my plants in case they all decide to die. The fertilizer I've been using is this one. It is a fresh seaweed concentrate, so I just mix that with water. This so far I think has been great. It's my first time using it this year and I seem to like it. So a lot of the pots that I have my plants in is really asking friends and family if they have extra because everyone has extra if they have gardens. Also, I had tons of extras. And I used like literally like, this is a mushroom thing, like where your mushrooms come in, or I had like strawberry ones. Like I really tried to reuse as much as possible. Also, I have a ton of these kind of pans. My mom had a ton of them, so she gave me some. So it was all about reusing what I had. Also, since I asked everyone like if they had potters and nobody had any left and I had none left, I actually took some red solo cups that my mom had, just put some drainage holes on the bottom there, and those work really well too, and they're also cheaper like at the dollar store than most planters. I do have one heat mat. I got that from Amazon for like 20 bucks, which isn't too bad. The light that is burnt out, so for lights I ended up just kind of going with the flow. So for this light here, not ideal, but I did get it at Canac for like 10 bucks because it came with this and this separately, but like I said, it's already burnt out, which is kind of ridiculous. And then this here, this grow light here, and this grow light here, I actually really like a lot for the seedlings. I actually bought these off AliExpress. I went to find the more affordable option, and on AliExpress, that was the most affordable option. You could buy these on Amazon, but I believe like I bought this for like 20 bucks, and on Amazon, they were going for like 40 to 50 bucks. And I was like, okay, like I can see that they're the same thing, except for cheaper on AliExpress. I like them for growing the seedlings a lot. It actually helped my seedlings quite a bit. And then I kind of like that bright light, like the light bulb that burnt out. I like that for when they're a little bit bigger. But the lights that I bought from AliExpress, it's really nice because you can kind of lower it down more. Also, you really need to make sure that if you're in the US or Canada that you're getting the US plug and not the EU plug, because You obviously won't be able to use it if you buy the EU plug. And then last but not least, I have this light here. So this light here, if you know anything about like photography or videography, that's a ring light. I had this ring light and I've had it for years and I wasn't using it. So I was kind of getting desperate for having more light in my room. It was really dark days and I could tell that a lot of my plants were starting to reach, and I was like, I need a light. And I was like, oh my God, my ring light. So my ring light's there and it actually has been really great and I'm really, really happy with it. So if you have a ring light, it's not a bad option. So that's pretty much some of the equipment that I have. And let me show you guys a little bit outside. So my boyfriend David and my son Cope are currently working on a garden bed for me. So we are expanding our garden beds. We've just built a couple and we got a kind of a dumping of horse manure, which I really like growing a lot of my stuff with horse manure. It's a very clean manure. So if you can get your hands on some fresh stuff, I highly recommend. Wow, bud, that looks great. So we have all this horse manure. And we just bought this trellis. So a lot of people get cow paneling. This is almost the exact same thing. The feed shop that we were getting it from, they had these garden panels. It's just that instead of the squares going from like little to large, all the squares are the same. So that is something that is new this year, which I'm excited about. And then we have this bed here, and we've expanded all our beds this year, which is great. And we just built this one. Thank you, David. So this is a bed we had last year. This is a bed we had last year, which you can see we are growing obviously some garlic in here. We have a raspberry bush back there, which has been destroyed a little bit from the bunnies that we have. And then we also have blueberry plants here, which were also destroyed from the bunnies that came in our yard. But these beds are looking good. We're gonna fill them in with dirt and then we'll top it off with some just compost kind of thing to add to it a little bit to make the beds a little bit richer. Then we have this small thing here with garlic. We actually ended up moving. We had a garden bed here. It was not getting light whatsoever. So we kind of split it all up here. And so I had to move my garlic from out of there into here, and it seems like they're surviving. We also have a strawberry bush here, which I don't know if that's going to survive sometimes here. I'm hardening off some ranunculus, is how you say it. And also here are some of my snapdragons. As you can see, these guys really had a hard time the last time that they went out. But the rest are looking okay. This is one of my favorite garden beds that we built last year. I absolutely love it. I grew dahlias, zinnias, and marigold. I do apologize if it's windy. This year I've already started some ranunculus here. So I pre-sprouted these ranunculus, and then I have ranunculus here and here started from the corns directly into the ground so they can kind of have some succession planting. That's really what I was working on this year. These guys aren't looking too hot, but I'm hoping that they'll be okay. They had a really bit of a hard time transplanting because of just how rough the wind has been, which is unfortunate. But hopefully they'll be okay because they're from corms, it's not from seed. We have a side garden here. We have a lot of ornamental grass, my favorite lavender plant. And then I have a rose bush here and a rose bush here, which you can see the bunnies took down completely. They just destroyed this bush. This one fared a little bit better, but they did destroy a lot off of it. And then I have 2 peonies growing from here. And then I have some garden stuff here, which I get a lot of hydrangea dried flowers from here. And then we have 2 hydrangea bushes here, which I'm hoping we can add one there and one there because we're going to move the bird feeder. So that's pretty much what our garden's looking like right now. We might add 2 more beds just because we have the extra wood. We've tried to just use spare wood of what we've gotten. Like David got some free wood from work, which we used in some of the beds. Also, we transformed beds, so we were able to build a couple out of that. But we're just trying to use as much extra wood as we had to kind of reuse everything instead of just buying new, which I think is great. It's good. We're reusing, not just buying new. And that's another way how we kind of have saved money. A lot of our beds also, like friends, family who were getting rid of wood, is something that we were able to kind of get as well. But yeah, that's pretty much what our garden looks like right now. The goal is, like I said, cut flowers for bouquets and also to do dry flowers at the end of the season to kind of extend the season as much as possible, and also some fruits and vegetables in there. Not many fruits, mostly vegetables, of course. Also, we're gonna transplant some things directly into the ground, like We'll do potatoes. What else do I have? Turnips, zucchini, not zucchinis, radishes, that kind of thing. Those will be kind of directly transplanted into the ground. But yeah, I'm really excited for this journey and I'm excited to share this journey with you guys. So if you want to keep watching, hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you like it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.